Joining us now, Gabe Pacheco, spokesperson for the National Border Patrol Council, checking in from San Diego. Gabe, it is good to have you here on America's Forum.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Gabe, what have you seen on the ground? What would shock the rest of America? Give us your assessment.
Well, first of all, I just wanted to tell you that the Border Patrol is working as hard as they can. Our agents are professional. We're going to take care of these kids while they're in our custody at the best of our abilities. Yes, some of them are ill. Some of them do have scabies. Some of them even have active tuberculosis. Some of them have, actually there was one confirmed case of the swine flu, which is the H1N1. So, you know, these people are fleeing this country, third world country, and coming across the borders. Yes, the border is porous in Texas. That's the quickest route for them to go from Central America straight. They're leaving poverty, they're leaving the gangs. They're looking for a better way of life. And they are basically pleading and asking for amnesty, for refugee status. And so the Border Patrol in Texas are so overwhelmed right now with people that actually, that's the reason they're being shipped to San Diego, so we can take care of them. The problem, though, is that, yes, there is also a risk of health. But while they're in our custody, we are mitigating, trying our best with what we got to help to not have an outbreak of these diseases coming in from these third world countries.
Well, we've heard in many cases, Gabe, that only a piece of yellow police tape separates those infected with illness from the rest of the population. And you mentioned that your agents are there working closely with these people. So it's a public health crisis, is it not?
Well, you know, it's something that agents, you know, come in contact all the time. When we arrest somebody, it doesn't matter whether it's in San Diego border, or it doesn't matter which border, they're going to bring in, and we have been exposed to these types of diseases all the time. This is part of the job that we have. We take steps, we wear gloves, we wear a face mask. When we're transporting someone with us, we don't keep them in the same vehicle that we're in. What we do is we put them into a self-contained vehicle where the circulation system is different, and, you know, separate from the agents it's riding in. So yeah, I mean, you know, there is a potential there that something could get past us, yes.
Well, in terms of the medical screenings, are Border Patrol agents doing those screenings, or are physicians brought in? How are the medical screenings of these illegals handled?
Right. What we're being told right now is that the people are being separated in Texas, and they're being treated by medical professionals in FEMA. While they come into our custody over here, when they're deplaning and going to our facility in Chula Vista Border Patrol Station, we are having our Border Patrol agent paramedics and our EMTs looking at these people. Yes, we actually need health professionals, we need blood tests, we need things like that. But when these people are found who are ill, we send them directly to the hospital for treatment. And then we bring them back to our custody, and then from there we hold them into quarantine in our Chula Vista Border Patrol Station.
We have been getting conflicting reports, Gabe, on just the nature of the people crossing the border. One network correspondent talks about moms and kids, moms and kids, moms and kids, seemingly ad infinitum. Other assessments say that up to 80% of those crossing the border are males between 14 and 18. And you mentioned gang activity earlier. There are people concerned that active gang members and members of the cartel are part of this, this onslaught of illegals. What have you seen? How do you assess it?
Right, I'm glad you say that, because right now the cartels are running those areas in South Texas. They call them plazas, and they charge these fees to these people to come across the border. I know I was talking to one of my partners yesterday, and he just got back from Texas because he was a temporary assignment over there. And he said that some of these groups are not even prosecuting. Sometimes if they get a load vehicle, they're not even, they say you got to let them go because they're so overwhelmed on the border. So since these agents are so overwhelmed on the border, you are going to have these people in places where it's going to be open. You don't know what's coming across the border at that time. Yes, males. Yes, people are coming across with tremendous amount of narcotics across the border, but the agents are there to deal with it because they're inside processing, changing diapers, or doing something else, basic administrative duties, as opposed to actually the law enforcement duties that they are sworn to do.
Or one way to put it, Gabe, the Border Patrol agents are babysitting rather than doing their primary task of protecting the border.
Right, that's a simple way to put it. Sometimes, I know from San Diego, the people that we've got, we had our female agents go in and change the diapers. You know, While they're in our custody, you know, there's compassion. We know they're children. We know they're human beings, and we're going to treat them with the utmost respect. But again, there's the dangers there of the sicknesses. I mean, yeah, the women and children, we have nothing against that. We know the people that we're dealing with. We know that they're separated from the families. We know they've traveled a very, very long way. But yet again, the exposure to some of these illnesses.
Do you have any circumstances or any situation, how young are the kids? And I've seen reports where there's one 4-year-old girl they can't account for now who apparently was sent northward with no one there to oversee her. Are you seeing little kids absolutely unaccompanied?
From the groups that we're getting right now, we're getting women and children that are coming into San Diego, and we're having 140 shipped to San Diego every 72 hours. And that we don't know when it's going to stop. That's just part of the process right now. So, and I haven't heard of any children coming to San Diego alone. You know, I don't know the situation of that, hearing that one child being sent north. It may well have happened, but I don't know the circumstances, so I really don't know.
Gabe, you mentioned your counterparts, your colleagues in Texas. We're going to go to Texas, and the governor of that state, I want to play for you a comment from Governor Rick Perry, what he had to say about the current administration's role in this current illegal immigration. Get your reaction. But first, here's Governor Perry.
You either have an incredibly inept administration, or they're in on this somehow or another. I mean, I hate to be conspiratorial, but I mean, how do you move that many people from Central America across Mexico and then into the United States without there being a fairly coordinated effort?
Now, that's Governor Rick Perry on This Week from ABC News this past Sunday. Do you believe there was a concerted effort, and is this administration aiding that effort?
Well, you have to look at the circumstances, not necessarily what people are saying. You have to look at what's going on the ground. You have to look at all the components that are working together and exactly what's going on. And people are still coming across the border. I know that it was reported that people within the White House had a meeting with Rupert Murdoch and Valerie Jarrett. They got together, they had a meeting together on how to fix this humanitarian crisis. I don't know what the results were that.
Well, we know that Mr. Murdoch has been on record for open borders, for amnesty. He and Mayor Bloomberg of New York, what was it now, 4 years ago, championed that very publicly. So that seems to be totally at odds with the job you have to do as part of the Border Patrol. We're also hearing talk, Gabe, that now you guys are being told that you don't call these kids UACs, unaccompanied alien children, that the term alien is being taken out of your vocabulary to describe these children. So when you see that going on, is this administration pushing to have these kids absorbed, basically a de facto amnesty?
They will be absorbed, yes, as a de facto amnesty. And if you look at it, I know some of my critics already are coming out and criticizing what's being said. But if you look at it, even if they come to amnesty or asylum, they've crossed the border illegally already. They've broken the law. Yes, there's going to be some time and point where the administration is going to have to say, yes, we're going to have to give these people amnesty out of necessity. And then you will have the families come up with those children who are already here to establish residency.
So as you're laying this out, Gabe, talking about, hey, look, it's going to be amnesty for these kids. That, in essence, is what is happening. And what you mentioned is something called chain migration. Right now, the White House is asking in excess of $3 billion for, quote, compassionate care. But if the scenario plays out that you've just outlined, we're not talking billions, are we? We're probably talking eventually trillions of dollars if this is carried to its logical culmination, are we not?
Right, exactly. And the American people that are going to foot that bill specifically for the care of these children. My question is, why aren't they putting that $3 billion within Border Patrol to do their jobs on the ground to stop these people coming across? Why are we spending money to ship people across the country? Are we spending money to ship people across the country at this moment in time and literally opening us or potentially having a problem with health across the country? So you have to look at, again, when I go back to my point of look at what is going on as opposed to what is being said.
And that is why we are happy to have you here telling us what is actually going on. You asked a lot of questions that a lot of Americans are asking. They share your concerns. Gabe Pacheco, we thank you for your service with the Border Patrol and representing members of the Border Patrol and giving us your perspective on the ground there from San Diego. Thanks very much. So
Thank you.
You hear Gabe, your thoughts. He says it's de facto amnesty, and it, in a sense, is inevitable. Why don't you tweet us your remarks at Newsmax TV, #America's Forum.